Entire business model has been changed by streaming, digital, AI. This is a moment of history that is a moment of truth. If we don't stand tall right now, we are all going to be in trouble.
Welcome back to CBS Mornings. Hope you like the news, because there's going to be a lot more news in your media diet, because just about everything else is on strike. Those words there from Fran Drescher. She's an actor, of course, president of the SAG-AFTRA union, and she's talking about why actors are now joining writers on the picket lines, forcing much of Hollywood to shut down production. Other stars like Jane Fonda and Wanda Sykes, Lin-Manuel Miranda had already been protesting along with the writers in support of industry colleagues who they say are struggling just to make a living. In response to the actors now striking, the studio representatives, that's the AMPTP, said in part, quote, presented a deal that offered historic pay and residual increases. The union has regrettably chosen a path that will lead to financial hardship for countless thousands of people who depend on the industry. So, with the actors disputing that characterization, of course, what is really going on here? We're joined by New York Times media reporter Nicole Sperling, who's been covering this extensively. Nicole, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, what's the immediate impact of both the actors and the writers on strike now?
Well, the industry was pretty much 80% shut down with just the writers. A lot of productions had stopped. And surprisingly, a lot of writers were able to shut down productions by picketing very aggressively and forcing studios to not want to go forward with productions. Oh. But now we're done. Like, everything's shut down. Like, there's no promotion of projects, too, which is a really big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal for you guys,
recovering from COVID. I mean, it's a big deal for us now in terms of guests. You know, I worry about the day that we're just sitting here doing jazz hands because there's nobody here to talk to. But weren't we already behind the 8 ball because of COVID?
Yeah, I mean, theaters chains are still coming back from COVID. They're still 25% down what they were in 2019 before the pandemic. You know, studios had ramped up aggressively so with all their content. With the streaming wars that were happening when everyone was fighting for eyeballs and subscribers. And then that shut down. A lot of productions shut down during COVID. I mean, we saw it happen. Those all came back, but the industry is still struggling.
So what do you make of Fran Drescher? You know, because you could certainly feel her passion, her commitment.
It was an incredible speech.
I thought so, too.
So many quotable
lines. It's worth looking at everything that she said, and her anger. Was she effective, do you think?
Oh, I think she was so effective. I mean, I think she rallied those flagging writers who've been stuck on the picket line for the last 70 days. Like, she may be fighting her own battle, but she really rallied troops all around the country. And you've got 160,000 actors that she really got going. And I think she was incredible, and she was off the cuff. There was no
I saw
teleprompter she was reading from.
The writers were already out, Nicole. There has to be strength in numbers with the actors,
Exactly.
True?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, now we have 170,000 people, essentially, who are going up against the studios. That's a big number. And you're going to see a lot of really recognizable faces on the picket lines. And,
of course.
You know, that may be a two-edged sword, because you have this perception of actors make a lot of money. What are they out fighting for? But, you know, there's a ton of working actors out there who are living paycheck.
And have second jobs at grocery stores and taking side jobs.
There's recognizable faces, and on the other side, there's recognizable names and figures in the industry responding. Bob Iger being one of those, CEO of Disney, which is one of the biggest producers of film and movies. He said that their demands are not realistic.
Right.
What do you make of that take? And then also, do the studios have the money?
Well, they could cut the salaries of the CEOs, and I think that's the big argument. And having him, on the day he gets his contract extended for 2 more years, going out and saying their objectives are unrealistic, doesn't really play well with all those people fighting for contracts, because of how much money he's being paid and how much money all these top CEOs in Hollywood have been paid for years. So the income inequality that this whole country is dealing with is kind of the spotlight's being shined on the entertainment industry as this microcosm for what's happening everywhere.
But Fran Drescher is right when she says that the whole business model has exploded,
Absolutely.
right? And while these media and film companies are still making money as a top line, the streaming divisions are very often, in almost every case, losing lots and lots of money. So they're not wrong about that.
They're not
either. So what is a fair compensation potential model here? What are people even theorizing could work?
I mean, it's still so up in the air. You know, they want gains. What the actors and the writers want is to share in success. That's how it used to be. You know, Fran Drescher was on The Nanny. It's not the world of The Nanny anymore. You're not going to get 30 episodes that's going to be syndicated and, you know, go on and have these multiple lives. You're in a streaming show. It runs for 8 episodes, and it doesn't go anywhere else. So it doesn't sell to another, you know, DVD or sell to anywhere else where they can get residuals based on that. Right. So that model, they kind of killed their own model, because you had a linear television model that then went to cable, that then went to DVD, and then you had a cable model. Yeah. Like, there were many bites at the apple, so everybody was sharing in the wealth, and that's not happening anymore. And I think what surprised all the studios was just how fast cable revenue went down and how fast linear television revenue went down. Like, people just stopped watching and they cut their cords and they went straight to streaming. And that, I think, has been devastating. So they're not wrong that the business model has definitely
Which side has
changed.
the upper hand here before you go?
Well, at this moment, right, today, I think the hand's on the side of the actors and writers, because, you know, the energy's there. And I think people can relate to their struggle at the moment.
And there's power in solidarity.
Meanwhile, with the news, fresh episodes daily.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, live and in color.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a great promo.
That's right.
All right, Nicole Sperling, we appreciate you.
Thanks so much.